All right, everybody, we have Dimitri Trice here to start. As always, if you have questions, let me know. We'll push you through. Let's start with Jeff Petrikis. Jeff.
Hey, Dimitri, you ended up having to play behind Bronson way back when you were a freshman. I don't know if you remember much from that season, but I'm just curious about Jonathan Davis. He's playing a lot as a freshman. I'm curious what you thought when you first saw him in workouts, and what do you think it says about how the coaches view him and how often they use him, and especially in tight situations, tight games?
Yeah, obviously he's a really athletic wing. He doesn't talk a lot, and he never changes that facial expression, that kind of blank look on his face. So he never gets too high, never gets too low, and I think that's really good to have as a freshman, and somebody that can play at this level, to not get too high, not to get too low. But obviously he's been a key guy for us coming off the bench, and he continues to impress us day in and day out. He's taken huge steps from the summer workouts to the fall workouts, fall practice, to how he's playing now and playing a little bit more confident. Every once in a while we'll see a smile from him, and I think that's just a stepping stone to that he's getting a little bit more comfortable in his role.
Let's go to Jim Paulsen.
Dimitri, Illinois is shooting the ball from three-point range way better this year than they did last year. How much more dangerous does that make them, and what are some of the keys Saturday to kind of containing that attack?
Yeah, obviously they're really good in transition, and they're playing a lot faster than they have in the past, and I think that's been the key for them, shooting the ball a little bit better from the three-point line. They spaced the floor really well, and obviously they have a really good post with Kofi, and then even Georgie coming off the bench are just two big bodies that teams have to key on, and can't let them just play one-on-one in the post, so it makes the floor shrink a little bit, and then they got shooters all around on the outside. So they're shooting the right ones, they're playing fast and free, and they're sharing the ball really well, and I think that's what makes them pretty dangerous.
Steve McGargy.
Just wondering, and you'll have a number of fifth-year seniors on your team. I know your red shirt was kind of more an injury deal than anything else, but having that extra year of experience, how do you think that's kind of helped y'all as a team and you personally in your development? How do you think it's helped, just the experience factor there?
Well, yeah, obviously we're one of the oldest groups to ever play the game of basketball in college, I guess. But no, it just shows like the experience is always a big thing, and Coach Gard always harps on that. And for us to have freshmen come in this year in a big class and just learn everything they can from our older group is going to help them down the future and down the road. So I think it's going to help us, especially here getting late into the season, obviously in the second half of the season and heading into towards the Big Ten tournament, and a tough stretch of Big Ten games that we have is going to definitely show. And I think that experience is going to pay off at the end of the day.
Let's go to Josh Schaefer next. Josh.
Dimitri, last couple of games you haven't been shooting as well as you were for basically the entire season before that. Is there anything you think that's led to that, and how do you sort of break out of that, or is it kind of not that big of a deal and it's just a 3-game spurt that happens?
I've tried not to think about it too much. I stay confident always in everything that I do, and there's obviously other ways that I can impact the game rather than just my scoring or ability to put the ball in the rim. So there's just different ways that I got to continue to tweak my game. Teams are going to guard me a little bit different day in and day out, and the coaches are talking to me on different ways to get me better and easier shots. But it's just something that I have to deal with, and I'm continuing to stay confident and trust the process that I've been through and the work that I put in. So it's definitely going to be coming back, and I'm hoping it's this game.
Time for 2, maybe 3 more. Let's go to Ben Morgul next. Ben.
Meet, you just kind of talked about when you're not scoring well, you can kind of find other ways to impact the game. Could you give me your take on Brad? Brad hasn't been shooting the ball particularly well as of late, but yet still kind of doing things defensively. Can you just rate what he's doing for this group defensively this year? And is he playing at a higher level than he has in past years on that end of the floor, or is he just kind of the Brad Davison that we've seen in the last couple of years?
Brad's Brad. Brad's always going to bring that energy. definitely when I'm watching the games afterwards, he's always the guy that you can hear on the court. He's always talking, whether he's in the game or he's out of the game, you can always hear and pick out his voice. So he brings a lot more to the game than just his shooting ability. And then like last game, he hit some big shots and some things to space out the game a little bit, but he does a lot of other little things well, whether that's taking the charge when we need it or getting defensive rebounds and boxing out. And he takes charge in those aspects of the game rather than just shooting and just scoring the ball. So some days it's his night and some days it's not, but you can always get and count on him on the defensive end to continue to communicate and stay locked in on that end.
Jeff Petrikis, let's go back to you.
And Dimitri, I don't know if you looked at the tape of last year's Illinois game yet, but whether you have or not, do you recall how Io made play after play after play down the stretch in that game? And if so, what do you have to do to try to avoid that again? I know he's good, obviously.
Yeah. Io is obviously a really, really good NBA caliber type player. And he's obviously a key focal point for any team that plays against Illinois. But yeah, it's just figuring out his weak spots and figuring out their team weak spots. But it really falls back on us. And if we play together on the defensive end, like we did, especially in the second half of the Penn State game, I think that we can shut anybody down. It's not just on one person, whether that's Brad, me, T-Wall, Aleem, whoever gets switched out on him. It's a team defense and team aspect and team like-minded thing that we need to get done on the defensive end. So we got to just continue to play Wisconsin defense like we did and do that for 40 minutes.
All right. Last one here with Jim. We'll go back to you. And then we got to.
Dimitri, you mentioned this tough stretch coming up, and I know you guys are pretty good at just focusing on one game at a hand, but do you look at this as an opportunity more than anything else to, regardless of what's happened in the past, to, you still have time to kind of show who you guys are, I guess?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Obviously, we have a really tough stretch coming up. We got Illinois twice, Iowa twice, Michigan, Purdue, at Nebraska, things like that. I think that it's going to just be a testimony to what this team can do, and we can either take this head on and to continue to progress how we're playing now. But I think that we're in control of our own destiny if we continue to take this one game at a time, one practice at a time, and play like it's our last game. We only have 8 regular season games left, and then it's the Big Ten tournament. So us as an older group and older seniors, that the clock's running down. So we're going to attack each game like it's our last.
All right. Thanks, Meech.